Hi, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be discussing a few theorists. We will discuss Lee Cantor, Aristotle, William Perry, and Howard Gardner. Let's begin with Lee Cantor. Lee and his wife Marlene Cantor are known for their assertive discipline theory. They believe that teachers were more effective when they made their expectations clear to their students and were always prepared to act if these expectations were not met. They believe that there are core statements that each teacher should know about themselves. They go as follows. You have the right and the responsibility to establish rules and directions that clearly define the limits of acceptable and unacceptable student behavior. You have the right and responsibility to be supportive of those students who are not disruptive. You have the right and responsibility to teach students to consistently follow these rules and directions throughout the school day and school year. You have the right and the responsibility to ask for assistance from parents and administrators. The assertive discipline plan has 3 simple steps. The first step is establish rules that students must follow at all times. These rules must be observable and enforceable. They must be clearly conveyed to students ahead of time. Step 2. Develop supportive feedback that students will consistently receive for following the rules. Feedback can be given in various forms, such as praise, positive notes, and phone calls home, rewards, awards, and special privileges. The emphasis is on reinforcing the positive behavior of students rather than giving attention to the misbehaving students. The third and final step is define corrective actions that the teacher will consistently use when a student chooses not to follow a rule. The corrective actions must be clearly stated to the student so that the student understands that he or she chose the actions by breaking the rules. Actions begin fairly mild and increase in severity. For instance, from a warning for the first infraction to staying in class after the bell has rung, to a call to parents to a trip to the principal's office for several infractions. Moving on to Aristotle. Aristotle believed that a fulfilled person was one who was an educated person. There's so much we can learn from Aristotle, yet much of his work is lost. In fact, only 20% of his work is remaining. He was a firm believer that teaching must be concerned with ethics and politics. Aristotle placed a strong emphasis on all-around balanced development, meaning that play, physical training, music, debate, and the study of science and philosophy were all crucial to a student's learning. Overall, a good takeaway from Aristotle is that we should consider human life in all aspects of education. William Perry. William Perry formed a theory on students of higher learning. This is huge for you who want to teach high school, middle school, or perhaps college level. William Perry believed that learning consists of 4 stages. These 4 stages are said to relate to the 4 years of college. The first stage is dualism, then multiplicity, relativism, and commitment. Dualism. There are only 2 ways. This is when students believe that there is simply a right answer and a wrong answer, but nothing in between. The student then moves into multiplicity, where they believe that there are many ideas instead of just 2, and all are equally good and value many people's opinions. Next, they move to contextual realism. They begin to look for evidence and compare theories. While they know there are many ideas, they begin to realize that not all of them are equally good. Finally, the student moves to committed relativism. They seek out different ideas and offer their own opinions in search of truth and to form their own ideas. Our final theorist is Howard Gardner. You might know Howard Gardner. He's very famous. He is known for his theory of multiple intelligences. He said that there is not just one intelligence, but rather there are many, and all students possess each intelligence in varying degrees. It is important to be sensitive to each intelligence in order to best help our students learn. The different intelligences are as follows. Linguistic, meaning your student is strong with reading, writing, and all things verbal. Logical and mathematical. These are your students who have a good grasp on thinking logically and processing things analytically. Visual and spatial. Oftentimes we think of these learners as our artists. They have a good idea of space and can visualize how things should work. Bodily kinesthetic. These students often provide us with a challenge because they do not do well with our constant lecturing. These students do well with hands-on, constant movement, and active learning. Musical. It speaks for itself. These are the students that connect well with music and learn well through rhythm and rhyme. Interpersonal. These students have a strong awareness of other students and their emotions and needs. They get along well and are very sensitive to how people feel. Intrapersonal. These students have a good grasp on their own feelings, logic, and emotions, and often know how to deal with themselves well. We have briefly discussed Lee Cantor, Aristotle, Howard Gardner, and William Perry. I hope you enjoyed, and this was very informational for you. Thanks for watching.